Hello, everyone, and welcome to Denise Live. I'm your host, Lonas Group CEO Shauna Neff, and today our very special guest is our campaign aficionado, Jamie Holmes. We're going to be talking more about campaigns and 10 campaign content ideas successful agents use to get leads. Do you get stuck when creating a marketing message? You don't have to resort to recycling national content or even AI to get the job done. So today we're going to be highlighting 10 effective content ideas that have driven successful campaigns for other agents and how you can capitalize on this creativity when working on your own campaigns. This is the third in our three-part series on campaigns, but don't worry, Randy's got another campaign idea webinar coming up next week. This is being recorded and will be available for your access later in our Club Zebra Vault. And now, Jamie, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Okay, so let's go to that first slide because I think that framing up the campaign goals is always a good idea. And Jamie and I were kind of talking about this yesterday that really there are three different kinds of campaigns. There's the campaign that you use like when you have a coupon or you have like a special deal that's happening at a specific date. There's a call to action that is date related. Once you get past that date, we're over it. We're expired. We're moved on. But that's really it's a gimme. It's like you're going to get something if you take action by this particular date. Most of the time, we don't have that kind of situation in real estate unless we're doing something like you might remember that first time home buyer credit from many moons ago, like I think it was 2010. That was actually a federal program that had an expiration date. Usually we don't get to work with something like that. Usually it's just kind of more like the opportunity, what we outlined in number two, where we have, hey, it's a moment in the market. There's not a specific end date. There is a sense of urgency, but generally speaking, it's not like hey, if you don't take action, you're really going to miss out. And usually, sometimes we can't even recognize those moments until almost if they passed us by. So most of the time, we're kind of working with something. We're trying to create that second category, whereas really what we most of the time have is number three, which is really the goal of the campaign is really to either stay connected with a group of people, like a past client group, or it's to build a relationship with a new group. And it's in that building of the relationship with the new group where you've really got to showcase your expertise. You've really got to showcase your professionalism, and you need to kind of lower the veil a little bit to let them get to know you. The thing is that once they get to know you and like your style, that's when they're most likely going to be ready to work with you when their timing is right. See, the problem with the first two is that most of the time, the timing of life and when they're ready to do something doesn't coincide with, it's not going to coincide with a coupon because you don't have one anyway, but even a specific opportunity. Like right now, interest rates just kind of came down a little bit this last week, which is it's not a huge savings, but it's a significant enough savings that most people who are thinking about doing something are kind of looking around taking notice. Mortgage applications are up. People are moving forward. This is an opportunity. But if the timing isn't right, if somebody's not really ready to move or they recently moved or it's just not in the cards for them until maybe X, Y, and Z happens, then it's not gonna matter. So you've really got to focus on that connection over time aspect of your campaign. The consistency factor is huge too. Jamie, can actually you and I've been talking a little bit about campaigns for the last couple of months here, and I love your Coca-Cola story. Can you share that real quick?
Yeah. So like the big companies out there like Coca-Cola and Nike, I mean, they've got $1 million marketing campaigns, right? But they have also got their formula set. They know that they need a certain amount of touch points in order to get people to create to buy Coke or a pair of shoes or something like that. And there's a different amount of touch points for a $2 Coke or a $100 pair of shoes, obviously, but they have that formula. And one of the interesting things to do, if you want to see this in action, is as we approach the holidays, start counting how many Coca-Cola ads you see. Count them on TV, on social media, on just everywhere. Look in the grocery store, look
Grocery
on bus
store, yeah.
sides. Every time you see a penguin or a polar bear or Santa, like how many times do you see Coca-Cola's ads? And little interesting tidbit, Coca-Cola is actually the reason Santa wears red. Like that's actually a piece of marketing history. Coca-Cola has shaped the American holiday season significantly. Um, but they have like 20, 30, 40 points of contact before somebody buys a single Coke. And you'll see them, they are everywhere. And it's having that presence, having that consistency, letting people know that yes, Coke is sold here. Yes, Coke is this, Coke is that. It really actually helps maintain their brand momentum.
Which is remarkable to me. We have so many people who will start, maybe start campaigns, and then after like one, two, or three touch points, they're like, well, why aren't I getting anything?
Yeah.
Imagine Coca-Cola thinking that, and they're investing in dozens of touch points over the course of I mean, actually no, over a consumer's lifetime. You're talking hundreds of touch points. So
Hmm.
I really think that when you're talking about this increasing the connection over time campaign, that we need to really remove the expectation that that's necessarily going to equate to a behavior. Actually, I went to a seminar on for the construction industry, and it was about being able to like how many touch points you need when you're helping a somebody who wants to buy like a new construction home, how what that process looks like, the cultivation process, and the fact that attribution is so difficult in this industry because the thing is that if you're doing all these different points of advertising, you might be doing a social media ad, you might be doing a print ad, you might be doing some TV stuff, you might have some signage, you might have flags,
Hmm.
there could be a number of different things that you're doing, and like we talked about those layers of the onion, there's a lot of them, but it could be like the one thing that causes somebody to pull the trigger, but it's not just that one thing, it's the collective, all of those other things that cause that action to occur. And the thing is that we as agents try to have this A causes B, and that's not necessarily the case. So I think that as you're looking at as we investigate these campaigns today, we really need to take off the, hey, this is going to be a specific call to action that results in a specific action. This is not what this is about. This is about really increasing your connection over time,
Hmm.
getting letting people get to know you a little bit, really showcasing your professionalism, expertise, and points of difference. And really, if you are trying to cultivate some leads, like in a specific group, this should really be a campaign that evolves with you over your career and that you stick with for the duration. So, okay, without further ado, let's talk about our 10 things, Jamie.
All right. Number one, lean into your passions. I am a giant nerd. I love hearing people nerd out about things. Like, I really do. Got a couple examples here. One person, car nerd. Another person loves jazz. These are definitely things that can kind of tie in with that first point that Shauna was making as far as things that have a definite date.
Yeah.
But like,
Sure.
you don't have to have that. You can talk about how, if you're a classic car guy, you need the shop in the new house. Or is your shop too small to hold your classic car dreams? If you love music, how thin are the walls in your condo? Do you need to move to a place that allows for better expression or closer to downtown to get that music thing? You can do it with arts, pets, sports, hobbies. Lean into this because this really makes you human. This really helps people understand what makes you tick, and you will find like-minded individuals. It's not for everyone, but it's there for someone. And, finding those people that you click with is really the name of the game. You don't want 100% of the clients because you're not going to mesh well with 100%, but you're going to mesh well with a few of them, and those are the ones you want to capture. So lean into your passions.
Actually, I've heard of a number of agents doing things like even talking, like if they're into gardening, like really talking about gardening in
Mhm.
their mailers or showing photos of them in the garden. I mean, honestly, the showing the photos of you doing something, anything that's outside of real estate, well, even within real estate, that is really what's getting a lot of attention right now.
Mhm.
So videos and if you're not comfortable with video, at least do some photos. And yeah, I think we all kind of got away from like the whole selfie mentality, but it's not really a selfie per se. It's probably having somebody else take photos of you, but it is like you're enjoying. the hobby, you're enjoying the
Mhm.
music, you're enjoying the art, you're out in the community. I mean, that's really what this boils down to. And this can work very, very well if you're
Yeah,
just
I mean,
sharing your interest. Volunteering, talk about what you're doing to volunteer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, imagine you have like a master gardener that's sitting on a home that they need to move. They would probably rather trust a real estate agent that understands gardening than a real estate agent that doesn't seem to care about gardening.
Yeah.
So they would rather see more gardening content. But that's true for like a lot of people. It's like if you have that thing that they share, that creates that instant point of connection. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, they're like me in that. And that's what you want.
Yeah. And I think, well, I think that a lot of like age wise, we, a lot of us got into social media kind of at the time where you had, you were very separate. We kept things separate, right? There was like your business persona and then there was the personal persona. And that has really blurred. And I think that a lot of us still, but we still think in terms of that, like maybe I shouldn't let my hair down in front of my clients, but I think you should. It's
Hmm.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
All right. Next, it's not happening in. So the idea here is you finding those anomalies, those weird things. And I dug into this for Matt Cluin, one of my clients in LeadMagnet, where everywhere else, every other city around him had a surge in active inventory. And it was actually something that I was just coming to expect from every single place that I was looking into the stats of. But then Des Moines is looking weird. Des Moines is actually dropping in their active listings. So let's talk about it. Matt and I have a great relationship in LeadMagnet, and I love just nerding out with him over stats. He'll let me know what's going on. He'll let me know what the locals think, how they think, why they like what they like. And so I'm able to really tailor a lot of the content to that. And we have worked together to create content that has gotten him leads where people will call him up and say, hey, it's obvious you know what you're talking about in the market. You're not just giving me generic platitudes. You're actually pointing out how we are unique and different. And that's a really great thing. It takes a little research, but dig into weird market activity. Find out why things are the way they are. That way you can come to a discussion about it from a place of authority and knowledge. And that can really help. I mean, you can do it with just about anything. But market activity is one that's really easily accessible within the MLS because you have all the stats there at your fingertips. You're able to look through all the recent sold. So if you look through and you're like, huh, there's like 15 new listings that are new construction. Why is that happening this month? Or, you can find all those really cool things. If you're also working within a specific city, you can stay on top of that city's building codes and keep in mind all of those things. And why is this city doing that differently than that city? How is the water shares different in this city than that city? Things like that. It's actually really interesting stuff. And again, coming from that with knowledge and authority really helps you be hyper local and confident.
Absolutely. There's a lot of, and there's so many little, you can even do it by price point, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
well, the rest of the market is doing this, but this particular price point is doing this. Or, a type of house, or maybe even a single community, like if you have a 55 plus community and you're finding that things are like really in demand there, that might be something to talk about. So there's lots of anomalies. I know that you notice them all the time. If you are working with us on something, then that's easy to start that conversation. Just say, hey, I'd like to focus maybe a little bit on this, and then we can take the ball with you and run with that. But
Mhm.
also, if you're creating your own stuff, this is great to put in your mailers. It's great to put on social media, but look for those points of difference because that causes people to be like, oh, they've got a different set of eyes on the data, which I like.
Yep. Number three, downloadables.
Love
Give
that.
them freebies. People love freebies. Give them checklists, give them quarterly market reports, create custom landing pages so you can track how many people are coming to your website for the downloadable. You can do QR codes, like I've got Cindy Chase's little QR code here that goes to a condo report. You can also just talk about how many, you can send them out via email and ask people to email you for a checklist. These things are really, really handy. And the idea is giving before you ask. You're not, saying, oh, give me all of your info and give me your goals in real estate, and then I'll give you the freebie. It's no, take the freebie, understand the market, Work on what you need to work on and then come back to me. And with your branding and everything like that on the freebie, it's so much easier for them to remember you.
Absolutely. And the thing is that with your Club Zebra membership, if you go into Club Zebra right now and you type in checklist into the search, make sure you're logged in because that way you can download everything. Download stuff and find things that are appropriate to share with your clients. Put your brand on it, stick it on a letterhead template, something like
Mhm.
that, and save it as a PDF. And then you've got that available. And the thing, and Jamie, you were talking the other day, and I loved this idea of taking something it wasn't your listing package. It was some other package that we were talking about. And you said, oh yeah, you could break that into like 5 different sections and then have each one available as a download. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that you've got a lot of stuff and it could even just be stuff that you're using internally, but put a little spin on it to figure out how the client could benefit from knowing this. So like if you do have a room by room checklist, and I think that that actually is one of the checklists we have in the vault. It's like 3 pages and it's like, I think it's room by room, or maybe it's like category by category. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years since I've really looked at that, but it's just a Word document. You can just download it, put it in your stuff. And it's actually for if you go on like a listing presentation and you want to go through and check things off as you go, then that could be something that you're giving them proactively. Like, hey, maybe you want to go take a look around your house and see maybe proactively what I would suggest you might want to address before listing your property. So it could be something like that. It could be something like um, here are the things that I do, just even by room, like taking that and just breaking it down by room. Here's the bathroom checklist, here's this.
Hmm.
Um, so that would be a great freebie. I think that your market reports, those are great freebies, but
Seasonal
you could also,
checklists.
what's that?
Seasonal checklists, like just
Seasonal
the
checklist.
maintenance,
Yes.
because that slides. That's
Yep.
so easy to let slide. It's like, it's good enough for now. But it's like, well, here are some tools to help
Yeah.
you with that.
Yeah, and actually, you could even highlight some of your vendors and something like that. So, hey, we're getting into fall. These are some things you may want to take a look at, and if you need help with these 3 things, these are some good folks to reach out to. I think that that would be a great idea. Love
Yep.
it. And yeah, you can do it by QR code. You can have people email you. The
Mhm.
QR code though provides a nice visual reminder to do that. I actually just randomly clicked on a QR code last night that I was at Fred Meyer. So Fred Meyer, and I was shopping and I'm like, and I noticed that one of those little coupon things was up there. I'm like, oh, I've never actually clipped a coupon that way, but it's got a QR code. So I whipped out my little phone and took a shot of that QR code, and I was like, oh, that's easy. I could clip a coupon this way. This is great. So people are kind of getting more into QR codes, so be aware. And they're easy to make. Go to QR code. I like QR code at monkey.com. It's
Mhm.
free. You can just type in the domain you want to send them to. It'll generate a
Yep.
QR code, download that thing, put it in. It's a graphic. You just put it in wherever you want to have
Yep.
people click.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
All right. Idea number 4, before
I
and
love
afters,
this.
then and nows. Really showcase your local roots or showcase your researching chops. This is an example that I did for Lisa Berg. She was marketing to a little community called Edgemore up here in Bellingham. And it was kind of really interesting because we got to dig into some of the Whatcom County just historical records and see what the community looked like 68 years ago and, comparing to what it looked like now. So it was really, really neat. Um, you can do it with historic records, you can do it with new construction, you can do it with recent sales that aren't even your own. Um, you can have a lot of fun with it. And really, it does showcase that you are there, involved in the community, um, really taking a look at what's going on next door to your prospective clients.
Yeah. And we've actually done this in areas too where finding, like, if you're in Seattle, you can actually go into the municipal archives and dig up specific properties and addresses. And some of them are available online, but most of them you got to go in and deal with. But
Mhm.
if in some areas, these are harder to come by. So what we did in one area, and they really wanted to do this because of their historical uh, interest. We actually focused on larger buildings, like commercial buildings. Like I actually, in the mock-up that we did for them originally, we focused on a fire station that was built in like 1900s. And so we focused on the then and now. So we actually did do a then and now because you can easily go get the now photo. You can just go take a photo of it, but that was easy to do. So we actually kind of scoured the archives and figured out, okay, what do we have photos of? And then we kind of made a catalog of like, okay, here's the next year. Here are the focus buildings we're going to focus on now. You go out and get the photos of those buildings. So that worked out really nicely. And people love that kind of thing. If you subscribe to the Seattle Times, there was the Pacific Northwest magazine, and I don't know if they still do it actually. But in the Pacific Northwest magazine that would come out on Sundays, they used to do it then and now, and they would do it in the same perspective. Like maybe you're on a street and you're seeing like, okay, these two streets come together. This is what this looked like when the photo was taken. Here's what that looks like now. Here are the buildings in the background. So people love that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. All right. So a mega open house. I kind of stole this from my client Gina. She's awesome. But the idea is turning an open house event into kind of a mini buyer education event. Means you don't have to rent a space. You can have snacks, you can have takeaways, you can partner with other people that want to reach these buyers. And then you can just share with the neighborhood, hey, come to this open house, check out the house. Even if you don't want to buy the house, you can learn a lot about how to buy and how to sell in this neighborhood. So it's a great way to get in front of people. It's a great way to do it fast. It's a great way to create that urgency. And then you also get to show off your beautiful listing. You can also partner with other people that have listings if they don't want to be hosting the open house as well. So that way you can represent anybody who might be interested in it. There's a lot of ways that you can network with something like this and really spread out and come at it from a lot of different angles.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. And so you can invite the neighbors. You could do something where you're targeting, like let's say this was not a like you're not going to get neighbors there and then they're going to tell other people, but but maybe there's a couple of buildings nearby and you want to target them for a mailer or a door hanger option, or a social media campaign. That's always an option as well. Or you might have, if you've done this enough, you might actually have a list of people who might be good first-time home buyers, and then you can market that to them. And then just as they're maybe still kind of plugging away in their journey there to be first-time home buyers, then you can invite them to that event and then build that relationship even.
Yeah. All right. Fundraisers. These are a lot of fun. They definitely have that urgency about them. You can partner with an established cause or you can run one yourself. Angelina did a pet food drive that was wildly successful. She ended up with 3 carfuls of donations. She was able to drive around the community, picking them up, meeting people, talking to people. And then when she brought it all to the food bank that day, they had a sign on their window or the sign on the door that said, "Hey, we're out of dog food today." And she was like, "Not anymore. You've got 3 more bags right here. I'm going to go for my second carload." So that was really, really fun. And so she was able to use this content idea to build up to it and then talk about how it actually impacted the community. And I think that's a lot of fun. You can do it with pet food drive like this that you can run by yourself. You could partner with an already established thing. You can do a lot of cool stuff with this. Have giveaways. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things in this sort of topic.
Well, the thing I really love about what Angelina did here, there's 2 things that I really love about what she did. She just set the date and said she was going to do it. She used it as an opportunity to make connections with people in her farm area. So the premise was, hey, let me know if you've got a donation. I will come by and pick it up. And so she was able to then make these connections with all these people in her neighborhood. And so that worked great for that. Go back to the goals at the beginning of this call. The campaign goal is to build connections with people. She was able to do that with this particular campaign. And my gosh, people love dogs. They love animals, and people are willing to step up and do it. And so she didn't have to do like a ton of organization. This literally was just, she was going to show up with a car full of donations. And I mean, I think that she did find out like kind of what they're trying to get on their shelves. But so I would encourage you to do that, and like what the process is for dropping things off and all of that. So that way it's not a surprise where you are. And just like, you just want to make sure that it's going to be an effective fundraiser or drive in this case. But we've had people do coat drives. We've had people do other actual food drives. We actually our Rotary Club did a food drive, and that was great. People just showing up with cans of food, and then we wound up with like a lot of food that we got to then take over to the food bank. And people have got stuff, and it's a great way to connect.
Absolutely. All right. Idea number 7, behind the scenes.
Love this
So
one too.
yeah, this is where you can do what Shauna said and just kind of pull aside the veil a little bit, show people the process, talk about staging, especially if you're really passionate about interior design. Staging is a great topic. Talk about signage, open house tips, paperwork. Everybody hates paperwork, but I bet that you have some insights that could help demystify that. Bust myths, debunk rumors, like really show people the nitty-gritty behind it. It's not all HGTV. So let people know that. Let them know the real side of real estate. And it can create connections and generate some really interesting content.
Yeah. And actually, this is a really good one for social media if you were so inclined, and especially if you did a video. And you could do a video talking about it, or you could do a video showing it. And one thing that I have seen that I just really love this, actually, Jen uh, Simnick had done a video of her cleaning her office in super fast motion. So she took the video and like just kept the video on while she was doing that, and then just totally sped it up. And it really is cool to see that before and after. So if you're doing things like putting up signage, or like doing little final touches in the living room or something before you're listing, or putting up your special feature cards, or whatever that is, I think that you could easily just set that camera to record and then just go do your thing, and the flurry of activity is what's so interesting. So great. I think that's a fun one to see, and it's a fun one, I bet, to do.
Mhm. All right. Number 8, solving
Janet's on
specific
too.
challenges.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So the idea is sharing case studies and stories. Like real estate is very rarely a generic transaction. Every buyer is unique. Every seller is unique. And talking about all of the challenges that you face with, one transaction or another can really help people start to see the process not as this big, scary transaction, but as a natural transition from one home to another. Janet Lewis does a great job. She has a Handled It campaign where she talks about a lot of the really unique challenges in working with seniors, and some of these ADA homes that she works with. And it's a really great way to show people. It's like, yeah, she's done it all. One of the things that I love about Janet's Handled It campaign is that it really humanizes everything. And she's handled the gross stuff, she's handled the awkward stuff, she's handled the dramatic stuff, she's handled the legal stuff. And so she's
Yes.
got stories, so many awesome stories about unique settings for each single one of these. It's a kind of like Reddit posts, but it's Janet. You know Janet. You know
Yes.
it's not a made up story. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So I love these. Um, but you can talk about assumable mortgages, self-employment, unique property types. Like, does somebody have like a really weirdly shaped property with a couple extra liens on it, or oh, what's it called? I totally
An
blanked on the word,
easement?
but the
Like an
thing,
easement?
yes, easement.
Okay.
Like there are properties out there that have like 2 or 3 easements that are just like really,
Yeah.
really awkward. But like, how do you work with that?
Yeah.
You know? Even partner with a lender and talk about specific loan products.
Yes.
Especially if you're targeting kind of that first-time home buyer or renter to home buyer transition. Because a lot of people are kind of scared that they don't qualify or they can't do it. And I think if you can talk with a lender and get those details about, yeah, if you want to pay 0% down and just cover your closing costs, here are your options to do it. It is possible. Or if you want 3.5% down, here's how you go about it. Or this program over here offers these perks. Like that kind of information that's really granular, really detailed, and that lets the readers put themselves into that situation is really powerful. It just draws them in. And then they're getting curious. They're like, hey, that could be me. Does this align with my goals? Yes, it does. Maybe I should call that person and find out more info. So that's kind of like the funnel that you want people to take.
Absolutely. And I think the more of this kind of storytelling we can do, and like really specifically, like, here is the challenge of this transaction. Like a few years ago, we really had pushed to do the case studies book, right? Like actually creating a case study for each one of your transactions is a phenomenal way to do some really strategic storytelling. And you could do it within a structure too. So like if you're a listing agent, Okay, what were the challenges of this particular house? Was it the condition of the house? Was it the fact that was it a really old house and you had concerns about the fact that it still had knob and tube wiring and that was really going to limit the buyer pool? What about stairs? The age of the roof? Or maybe it was something like, hey, there's a lot of complex easements going on with this property, or you've got a situation in which, hey, you're selling a house with a well and the well is kind of a funky configuration. And how are you going to possibly do a well test because of the way that this is set up? What are those different challenges with the property and the opportunities with the property? And then what did you do to still have the buyer pool be as wide as possible from a marketing perspective, from a what we're offering perspective, information up front? What supplements are you including? Like how did you structure this differently in order to connect with the most people possible? And did you do like additional agent outreach? What did that look like? Because that's kind of the stuff that happens behind the scenes that, we know that happens, but the end user may not know that. So even
Mhm.
just having stuff like that you can actually do some storytelling around. And this is a long, article piece, but this could easily be condensed into something more like I wouldn't do less than a half a page because it is such good content. But it could be something where you set up the scenario in the challenges and then want to see how I solved it, go to my website. And then there's the afters, like more like a blog post in which there's no limit to that. You can include as many photos as you want. You could really showcase your listing prowess on that other page there. So I think this has got a lot of good ideas, regardless of what type of real estate you sell. I think that there's a case study in every single thing that we do.
Yeah. All right. Number 9, zoning and taxes. Like these have got to be the most boring topics for a homeowner to deal with. Homeowners probably don't want to deal with it, but if you can bring the nuts and bolts, the actual takeaways of these topics to your homeowners, they're gonna love your Cliff Notes way more than they want to read the bills online or in a paper. So use your maps, show maps, talk about what the zoning means, talk about zoning changes, talk about upcoming laws and bills, talk about how it's going to impact them. Because this is it's kind of like the death and taxes. Zoning and taxes affects everybody all the time, every homeowner. So become a source for that. Showcase your knowledge, showcase your savvy, and let people know what to expect. And then as you do that, they're going to start to trust you.
Yeah. Yesterday, I just wrote an article for our middlehousinghelp.com, our newsletter that goes out every single week. You can sign up for it. If you're interested in middle housing at all, I highly suggest it. Yesterday, I wrote an article. This was really interesting. There were 110 amendments proposed to Seattle's comprehensive plan. And what are you laughing about?
No, it's just
Oh,
the vast amount
oh my gosh.
of of changes. Like if it was 101, you could be like 101 amendment changes and it'd just
Yeah.
be a cute little story. I don't
Yeah.
know, it's ridiculous. That many people decided to put that many changes into writing.
I loved it though. No, it was really good. So these are all amendments that have been proposed by like the city council and to try to, or the committee actually, and I think all the city council members are on this committee. But basically it's to reshape everything from the size of ADUs that they're talking about having. Maybe if there's an affordability component, how is this changing? So there's like so many little tweaks. The neighborhood zoning is like, I can't, oh shoot, I had like there's a bunch of different neighborhood zones. They've talked about adding additional neighborhood centers and changing the boundaries of some of these. So if you went onto the zoning map previously for Seattle and thought, oh, this is what we're going to be doing, this is what we're going to be moving towards, it actually might be adjusted depending on what gets passed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think there were 243 public comments on these 110 amendments. And all of that footage, well, the public comment is recorded, so you can actually go on the link I provided in the newsletter yesterday to secure that. But those neighborhood centers, that is like lovely document content in and of itself. if you are in, like they were talking about stuff in West Seattle, if you're in West Seattle and you're, like, I think that there were two or three neighborhood centers that were proposed or like changing the zoning for that. I mean, I would be doing a blog post about that today and just linking to it and just say, hey, West Seattle people, you may not know this, but this is what's being proposed. Here's what you need to know. There's so much that we're given as opportunities to connect from our cities, from the media, and we just need to take the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
What's number 10?
Nosy neighbors.
Oh, we love nosy neighbors.
So anything that you think the neighbors want to know, the nosiest of nosy neighbors,
Uh-huh.
bring them in. Bring them in with a listing letter series. Bring them in with a neighbors only open house. Find out what's going on in the neighborhood with the HOA drama, anything like that. People love to gossip, so write your own little gossip column. But also you can just, do like the listing letters and be very factual and very value oriented. So there's a nice selection of ideas within the idea of catering to nosy neighbors. But nosy neighbors are also the ones that like to tell people about things. So you get that word of mouth going too.
And I just want to put another plug for the listing letter series. And this is available in the vault too. So if you don't have one in your materials, we haven't created this for you for some reason. Go into the vault and type in, like, I think it's neighborhood letters or just letter. See what you get when you type in letter. And it's just three word documents in there. And basically the premise is, if you're not familiar with it, is that if you have a listing in a neighborhood, you're going to send this letter out to the neighbors when it is listed that basically says, hey, I've listed your neighbor's house. Either you can expect some additional traffic over the next until it goes under contract. I'm having an open house this day at this time. I'd love to invite you a half hour before or whatever to come and for a private neighbors only time, something like that. Hey, and if you're concerned about the extra traffic, I could put like a slow down sign in front of your house. So it's not like a marketing letter, it is a service letter. And the difference in that has made a lot of clients for our clients, a lot of seller clients for our clients. Actually, I think the biggest success story that I ever had from this was that we had a guy get 14. Well, there's two really good success stories here. One is we had one of our clients who literally was just like, nothing works. And Denise is like, just send this out. And so he sent it out and got 14 listings because this one person was a landlord who wanted to get rid of all of her properties. And she had never gotten a letter like that. So literally he got 14 listings from one letter. That kind of stuff does happen. And then I'm sure a lot of you have heard the Colette and Haley story about when Denise, Colette Reardon came to class and said to Denise, this is well over a decade ago, what's one thing in my business that I could do to really ramp things up this next year? And she said, just do these 3 letters. Every time you get a listing, send the letter out when it lists, when it pens, and when it sells. And in the sold one, you're basically just summing up like, hey, this was the result. Here's what's going on in the market. Let me know if you have any questions. And so then you've sent these 3 letters to people, and then you might get a listing or they might hang on to it, and then you can decide at that point, does this person go ahead and get my other monthly mailing, or am I staying in contact with them or not? You can make that choice depending on how you want to cultivate that. But it's just those three letters, and Colette doubled her business in 1 year just as a result of sending those out. So these do work. These definitely work. Next week, actually, Randy is going to be kind of taking the Nosy Neighbor campaign and a few other campaigns. He's going to show you how to take those and translate those, and actually show you some opportunities for how you can kind of build more structure to it online via landing pages. So that's going to be really very exciting. And at our Encore group this last week, he talked about this Nosy Neighbor letter, in which you can actually, I had kind of tied it together, like you could put a QR code on this final letter and then tell the story of that listing in the case study that you actually show online with photos and resources. And then you can maybe highlight some of the things that you do to list a home too. So it's almost like a little mini listing presentation on a landing page with a case study. So, and that could be a structure you just kind of reuse for other listings also. So, oh gosh, so many good ideas. So little time and so little paper. Awesome. Okay, so in summary, you got to do something. You got to have people connect with you. You got to let people see the real you. There's so much opportunity here in terms of campaigns. It's just you got to just choose something and go with it and start throwing the mud. Jamie, what say you?
Absolutely. I think consistency is the biggest monster to slay in this. Because if you want to think about it from the prospective client's point of view, you know, how many points of contact would it take for you to trust somebody with $500,000? Just, whether it's a house, whether it's an investment, anything like that. It's going to take a little while before you trust somebody enough to even just start talking to them. It's not going to happen immediately or instantly. So getting in there and being consistent, showing up month after month after month, and having these very low pressure touch points really shows one, that you're human. It shows that you're reliable. It shows that you're sticking around. I mean, we're living in a post-COVID economy where we've all had favorite businesses that have gone under. I mean, even Joann's, like I'm a very crafty kind of person, and I was just brokenhearted when Joann's went under. And now it's like, okay, where do I find all my craft supplies, right?
Yeah.
Like, if people don't hear from you, they're going to assume that you're out of business. If you don't hear from your favorite restaurant, they're probably not around anymore. Like it's a thing that we have to contend with. And we have to shout into the void and let people know that we're still here. And so staying consistent, bringing interesting things to the table every single month, I think is just a really, really key way to show people that you as an agent are reliable and you have all of these qualities and experiences and knowledge to share. And I think that's a really important part of marketing. It's not predatory, it's not scammy, it is very ethical, very very down to earth, very human connection. And I think that's something that everybody should be emphasizing consistently.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, I don't have any questions from the audience unless actually I'd like to just go ahead and open it up. If you've got a question for us, we welcome you to the platform. Please ask your question. Or you can ask in chat. Otherwise, Jamie is available to take consultations. So if you want to chat about your campaign and chat about how you might be able to capitalize on some campaign ideas to take things to another level, go ahead and email Jamie, Jamie, at thelonusgroup.com. She would love to set up a consultation with you and just kind of go through your options and hear your ideas and talk about your
I love
audience and
nerding out about
get
marketing.
nerdy with you. So
Yeah, I love listening to people talk. I really do. And I love collaborating. It's honestly my favorite part of this job is collaborating with
yeah,
agents and just kind of watching them light up when they really love a neighborhood or a product type or just, when they love helping people. Like with
yeah,
Janet and her Handled It campaign. I really adore that campaign. I think it is
I do
the
too.
one of the best ones I've seen. And just, let's get something out there. I'm happy to help create kind of a plan, a target, a timeline, and even share some freebies. I've got some freebies of my own that I can share with you that help track and plan marketing campaigns, whether it's social media, mailers, or even a personal event that you want to set up.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you all for joining us. Jamie, thank you for the great information today. We will see you again next week for our website features for growing your campaign online. Join us next Tuesday as our very own online marketing expert, Randy Bowers, discusses ideas for supporting your marketing campaign at your website. Follow along as we explore how to complement your marketing efforts, but between your online and offline efforts. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week. Take care, everyone.